Good evening, folks. My name is Jacqueline Cousins Oliva, and today we're going to do wrestling reviews. The first thing I want to talk about is NXT that aired on September 30th, 2025. So, this episode is basically about TNA versus NXT elimination match. Followed by Jada Parker versus Lash Legend No Mercy Fallout. So, here it goes. And I think it's like 2 hours long, I guess. Alright, I'm gonna talk about this here. So this show eventually take place at Orlando, Florida. What year is this? Hold on. It was aired live September 30th, 2025 at the CW network. It was at the WWE Performance Center, Orlando, Florida. So, it's highlights from... So, the first hour, they talk about highlights from last week NXT show air, which featured the TNA versus NXT show. Earlier, like I said earlier, they're going to talk about the closing brawl. Then, cut to No Mercy highlights. So, their Vic Joseph and the legendary Booker T was on commentary. Mike Rowan was a ring announcer. New TNA champion Ricky Saints made his entrance. Starts the show. Ricky got an obligatory "You deserve it" chant from the crowd. Ricky thanked the crowd and says that when he said every great giant need a rest. So basically he's talking about, I forgot this guy's name. Uber. So basically he's talking about Uber down. Uber. So in my own words, he defeated Uber to become the new NXT champion. Ricky talked about how he came to NXT. The reality is him heading every NXT people, headlining every NXT show and winning an NXT champion. Ricky said reality is standing right there in front of y'all. He said it hasn't been an easy journey. Well, of course, because he had to fight with AEW. Because he had to fight with AEW, because at AEW, he was Ricky Starks. He had to fight with Tony Khan to get his ass out of there so he could go to WWE. So I know why it wasn't an easy journey for him, but good thing he went in NXT and congratulations on starting NXT. Hopefully you made it to the main roster. He said people ask, can people do it? The crowd says yes. Ricky said he always going to stand on business. When it comes down to it, he put it down all the chips. Bet on himself and only come out as a new NXT champion. Ricky said the only person you have to worry about is bet on you. The only thing you have to worry about and bet on is you. Ricky's promo interrupted by NXT Women's Champion JCJ. Well, of course, congratulations is him on his title win, but there are bigger things to worry about than his celebration. She called the crowd losers for booing. JC says they have to worry about TNA coming over, but she understands why they are upset with NXT, because NXT has both TNA's main title. NXT General Manager Ava made her entrance. Ava said JC was actually right about NXT having to worry about bigger things. Ava named Ricky and JC as leaders of male and female teams. So that's a good choice, Ava, you made for the male team, naming Ricky Starks. But the female leader of the team, JCJ, I don't like her. She's a bitch with an attitude. Ava said that she needs to put together the best teams. TNA Direct, I'm drinking tea by the way. TNA Direct Authority Santino Marella came out in his old WWE music. Anybody remember Santino's old WWE music? He came out in 2008, I believe, or 2010. He came out, he debuted in his own music. Go look up Santino Marella's old music, old debut, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, he said Ava had a great idea. Santino said he don't trust Trick Williams to be the team leader because you can't trust a guy named Tricky. But Trick Williams have his title. How can you not? But I see why. I see why at Showdown. I'm going to talk about it later on. Santino named Mike Santana the leader of his team. He's a great fighter. He has a great spirit. So that's a great choice for Santino. And his entrance to Borica Trance. Santino said he trusts someone else as the leader of the female team. Kalani Jordan, which is a sweet woman. Sweet young lady. And JC looked all confused, I don't know why, due to Kalani being an NXT wrestler. Pictures show that Kalani Jordan beat Lei Young to become the new Knockouts champion. What the hell is wrong with that? Let me tell you something. For all you NXT women, for all you ungrateful NXT women, females that kick Kalani Jordan out, first of all, Kalani Jordan was the reason why NXT was the shit. But all because she moved to TNA, you gonna kick her out? We're gonna get to that later. Ava noted that both teams need to be finalized at the end of the night. Santino said this is an invasion, but more of a showdown. JC asked why she's the recent champion, and NXT wrestlers Kalani being captain makes sense. Ricky says, we don't have to worry about this. He'll see Santino by the end of the night. What do you need to see Santino for? They're talking about Vic Joseph and Booker T commentary, and last night Legend saw him walking backstage. Jada Parker is also saw him walking backstage. So that's good. They had I don't want to read somebody's stuff. Somebody wrote this article. John Moreau. I don't want to read his thoughts. I don't want to make it seem like I'm copying him. So, I've seen this show before. I've seen how it all played out. I don't know why Ava. Of course, she's NXT champion, but Santino Morales didn't name Trick Williams NXT. He don't care how if he's the TNA champion. He's not gonna name somebody named Trick Williams. He's not gonna name somebody named Trick Williams to be the leader of the damn team. He said they don't trust him with. He said they don't trust him with the team, and I see why he don't trust him. It shows at NXT Showdown, which I'll be discussing real soon. But at the end of the day, the women of NXT pulled. You know what? I'm gonna keep on reading. So, Lash Legend versus Jada Parker. Lash quickly tackled Jada in the corner to start the match. Lash hit Jada with a spinning uppercut. I don't usually write down. Lash hit Jada with a delayed vertical suplex. Lash duped Jada up the apron. Jada hit a draping boot. Lash came back with an overhead chop, and Jada tackled Lash into the apron. Jada hit Lash into Samoan drop at ringside. Back from the break, Lash used her side to block the sunset flip. Jada powered through and got 2 counts. Later put Jada in half crab. Jada got a hand on a rope for a break. Jada dodged a standing splash. Jada hit Lash with a blockbuster. Jada hit Lash with a shove tackle in the corner. And she hit Lash with a swinging neck breaker 2 count. I can look up Jada versus Lash Legend. Jada used elbow break to break a sleeper. Jada hit a Lash with a dropping Bazai drop. Lash quickly got up and hit Jada with a mafia kick. Lash tossed Jada in the steel steps of the barricade. Later escaped and bowed and arrow and hit Lash with a hypnotics for the victory. That was her last fit. She hit her with a finisher. And then she picked up the win over Lash Legend. So, apparently, looked like Jada got her licks back. I guess. Ricky Saints was dapping it up with everyone in the locker room. TNA champion showed up to declare himself a TNA champion on an NXT team. Gotcha. He declared himself co-captain. There is no co-captain on the team, sir. I'm talking about Trick Williams. He's a black man who had the audacity to demand shit. He said he likes how excited Trick is, but he only had 2 spots. He said he gave one of the spots to the young OGs, Javon. I like this kid. He gave it all he got. I like this kid, Javon. He gave it all he got. Ricky also noted that Miles Bone was on the team. Trick recommended Josh Briggs, Evans, and Josh is a goofball, and he can't team up with him. Ricky said he don't like Josh Briggs either. So, look up Evans and Josh Briggs. Oh, he knows that Miles Bourne was on the team. I forgot to read that part. So here's Josh Brick, y'all. Javon. Javon is this young black kid. Josh Brick right here. Josh Briggs. Let me show you wherever. Here's Javon and Josh Brick. So they got a problem with each other. This dude right here. These two guys right here. Okay. Ever said Josh is a goofball and he can team. You mean goofy? Cause black people say goofy. Rick said he doesn't like Josh Brick either. But he can make a good choice. Trick and Miles Bourne, Josh Briggs has a match to join the team. Ricky said he likes that. North American champion. All Ego Ethan Page made his entrance. Page said he seems to have done it again. He said he's the greatest of North American champion, the greatest North American champion alive. He said he turned away an Olympic level that showed them there was a talent gap between Heights and great North American champion. He said he has a medical professional, Dr. Ray Wagner, coming after him. Page said let me pull this up. I don't want to. Page said he only got a doctorate degree. Wagner has it in pissing Page off. It was just, someone was showing getting out of the car. Page assuming it was Dr. Wagner instead of it was former WWE wrestler Mustafa Ali making his return to the Performance Center. Ali soaked in welcome back chats. Ali said he has no issue with anything Page says, but he had an issue with what Page is holding. Page said he had no business. Page said he has no business with Mustafa or owes him a damn thing. Ali said he's right, but NXT owes him something. Ali talks about how he earned the opportunity at the North American Championship, but that opportunity never came. He said he thought he was cursed. Ali said on this day 2 years ago he was promised as the North American champion match against Dominic Mysterio. But the sun did not rise. The sun didn't rise. He said instead he got a phone call telling him the service wasn't needed. Damn. That was heartbreaking for him. That wasn't too long ago. Ali said he's back and still waiting for that championship match that he earned. Page said this is the part where Ali cries right. Page said this is the part where Ali cries right. Page said he's not the guy with the ears to hear it. Ali said he's not going to cry for a championship match. He's going to politic for it. He said he spoke with Ava and Santino next week on Sun Showdown. It will be All Ego versus Mustafa Ali for the North American Championship. Page said he's not surprised. He's not surprised everyone from every company is coming after Page. Says every person comes after his championship is cursed. He said Paige is trying to claim what he didn't have after what he couldn't after 2 years. So this was 2023 then. This was 2023 that he was let go and wasn't given a title opportunity. Well, but he'll be disappointed. Paige said he won't call Ali to fight him, but he wished him the best in his future endeavors. Ali and Paige brawled with Ali dumping Paige to ringside. I guess Ali got tired of him throwing darts at him. First of all, Paige, Ethan Page don't even know him. Have you not seen his group on TNA, sir? His group is unstoppable. He's more successful over there than he was over here. And I don't blame him. So, J.C. Jane was addressing the women's locker room. Jane said Jada Parker looks strong and candidate after her to join the team. J.C. said, even though she don't like Soul, she needs winners. So Soul is on the team. So far she picked Jada, Jane, and Soul. Lola Vice stepped up and said she'll put the difference aside to protect NXT. Following Holly and Lady Raid also stepped up. JC shut everyone up in that. Following and Lola will fight for the spot for the team. Zara then dragged Soul aside. What's her name? Hold on. And I found out that Soul was mixed. NXT. Soul Ruka. Yo. Soul Ruka. So, I'm on the part where Fallon and Lola got a match with each other to determine who's going to be on that team. Zara drags Sola. Zara is this big woman with hair on her, with long red hair, always braided up. Her name is Zara, and put Zara and NXT on Google. You see who I'm talking about. They say she dragged Soul aside and said they need to talk privately. The Hardy Boys promo aired, loaded theme in the background. Jeff Hardy said they're going to bring his engrammatic light to the dark state. Dark state. Man said the match is set to be a fair match, and a fair match is Hardys are the best. And in fair matches, the Hardys are the best. Jeff said they're coming after the only WWE's titles they haven't won. NXT Tag Team titles, which is held by Dark State. Matt said it's time for the deletion of Dark State. So it's Dark State versus Matt Hardy for NXT Showdown. So this man, they bringing back their old game from late 1999s and 2000s. I don't want to with the bacon. Okay, Miles Bowens versus Josh Briggs. Briggs won his claim during the match again. He he didn't have no mercy. Josh and Miles butted heads, started the match. Miles tripped Briggs and hit him with a basement lariat for the 2 count. Miles hit Briggs with a flip, for burping, with a flip drive at ringside. Miles hit Josh with a high fly and a near fall. Briggs tossed Miles into the corner and choked him with a boot. Briggs worked on Miles for mediocrical offense. Hour 2. Miles had no soul. Miles had no soul and boulder toss. He did a leapfrog, but caught by cross body and choke slam him, and Miles kicked out at 2. Back from break, Miles hit a bricks with Insurigiri breaks Miles on the top rope. Briggs hit Miles with a double break for 2 count. Miles hit Briggs with 2 Irish rips like this. Look like I'm trying to be like Matt Hardy with this whole crap, this whole deletion. With an orange style power slam. So he power slams him in the mat with a 2 count. Briggs hit Bones with an elbow, where Miles came back with a Sato suplex. Miles hit Briggs with a cold breaker. Briggs fell into a big foot. Briggs whipped the metal chain around his hand, and Max showed up and grabbed Josh's attention. The referee took the chain away, hit Briggs with a drop kick, and a zigzag to the. Wait, the ref took the chain away. Bourne hit Briggs with a zigzag for the victory. And Miles Bourne picks up the win against Josh Briggs. And it taunts Briggs from the crowd. Oh man. That was an awesome match. But thanks to Matt, Josh Briggs lost his chance. Macadona. Jordan Grace approached Kalani Jordan. So this is where the attention. Wait. Vic noted that it's Trick Ricky Miles. So for the team, it's Trick, Ricky, Miles, and Evan from NXT. The man's team. So far it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 guys on the team. So Jordan Grace approached Kalani Jordan backstage and hold her to represent TNA with pride, as given the former Knox champion is given she's a former Knockouts champion. Kalani pointed out people don't know where Jordan and Joe aligned due to them having feet in 2 companies. So, okay, so you say you don't trust Jordan and Joe because they move from company to company? Is that what you're saying? So, Kalani pointed out people don't know where Jordan and Joe are aligned to due to them having 2 feet in a company. And yet, Kalani Jordan is an NXT DT wrestler with a Knockouts champion. And she had the audacity to talk about them and where they stand. You got kicked out of the NXT locker room. You got kicked out. say his name and he appears. I believe it's Joe Hendrick. Joe Hendrick appeared. Mike Santino showed up and called Kalani over to show her the team she picked out. Grace and Hendry, I wonder if they somehow be a part of the Sundown show. Grace and Hendry, wonder if they could be a part of the showdown. So, Lola Vice made her entrance. Fatal Influence made their entrance. So it's Fallon Henley with JC Jane, the NXT champion, versus Lola Vice. The match started with a collar elbow. Henley mocked Lola's ass shaking. Because, mind you, Lola always dances every time she steps in the ring. Don't mean you gotta make fun of her. Talking about some hee-ha. So, Lola rolled up Henley a few times for a near fall. Henley hit Lola with an automatic drop and house call for a 2 count. Lola hit Henry with a series of roundhouse kicks around the ring. Lola pressured Henley to the corner with a CQC combo. She came back with a dragon bunch and sliding German suplex. You can look up Finding Henry versus Lola Vice if you want to on YouTube, by the way. I'm just talking about what happened in this match. I'm just reading about what happened in this match. Henley caught Lola with a running right hand. Henley hit Lola with a running face buster for 2 count. Henley put Lola in the cravate. Lola railed with legs, lariats, and snap. Why they put words that I can't even understand what that means. So Lola railed with a leg in a snap suplex. Lola hit Henry with a Sato and she did a Eddie shimmy. Lola dumped Henry to ringside with a match gun kick. Lola with a machine gun kick. Henry came back with a rope jawbreaker. Lola surprised Henry with a spinning backface that she always used, and she picked up the win. She picked up a win against Fallon. So Lola joins the women's team for NXT. So the commentary, Vic was all hyped about Javon Evers versus Leon Satan, the calling of later tonight. So it's gonna be, so that match was the shit. That match was the shit. And so it's Ethan Page versus Mustafa Ali for the North American champion was made official. Jason Chains apologized to Fallon Henley backstage. Laney Reed. Okay, you instead of scolding her for losing, you automatically apologize. That was the first thing I've ever heard from you, ma'am. Laney Reed approached them and said she's willing to help them out. Laney Reed revealed that she was the hooded figure and joked about how someone like Jasmine Nix never deserved to be in a fatal influence. Mm. Mm-mm. Honestly, I feel for Jasmine. I wish she hasn't given up on wrestling, all because she couldn't win matches. All she gotta do is do better. All Jasmine gotta do is do better. Um, Javon Evans made his entrance. A Halloween Havoc ad air. Okay, that's gonna be around Halloween, I guess. It's gonna be in October, I guess. Leon Slater made his entrance. Vic Joseph noticed that Leon Slater is the youngest X Division champion in TNA history. Booker and Vic remind the viewers that the X Division is not about weight limits, but no limits. Whatever that means. The caller made an interest. So they didn't put this down. So they was talking. And Javon and Leon seemed like they buddies until Sean and Nico showed up about trying to lecture Javon about whose side they on. It's not about making friends. It's about who's the best in the wrestling business or some shit like that. Okay, I'm gonna read this. Slater and John Spears started the match. Slater hit Spears with a dropkick. Stinger splash. Worked on the Spears with 10 punches. In the corner, Slater hit Spears with a crescent kick. Vic noted that Slater would become 21 this weekend. So he's the youngest then. He will become 21. So he'd be 21 years old this weekend is what they're saying. Avon and Vance tagged in. Avon's hit Vance with a hurricane and dropkick. Vince got to the knee and prevented a pin. Vic noted that Obafemi is not in the building. Vance caught Slater with a headbutt. Izzy was yelling at Tatum due to her paying attention to Lyra doll. And why is Izzy jealous of Tatum? Because she couldn't let go of her past friendship. Tatum and Lyra been friends for quite a while now. That's why she's still missing. Spears caught Evan with a spine buster. Spears was distracted by Izzy yelling at Tatum. Slater and him and Evans both hit both opponents with a stereo planches. The calling of the cut of the half of the ring in half on Slater hit Vance with a reverse Enziguri and tagged in Evans. Evans caught Spears with a suicide dive across the announce table. Evans hit Vince with a slingshot shoulder tackle, and Evans hit Spears with a flip jump kick. Evans hit Vince with a splash. Vance kicked out at 2. Evans caught Vance in a Superman punch. Evans kicked Vance. Vance kicked Evans in the corner and hit him with a rough looking Alabama slam for a near fall. Evans tagged Slater. Slater hit Vance, and Spears hit a flip dive over a ring post. Slater hit Spears with a released blue thunder bomb, and Vance broke the pin. Spears took out both opponents with a kick. Sean Spears. Javon Evans hit both opponents with a double cutter. Evans followed up with a double cutter, Evans hit finish, and with a diving ringside. Slater hit Spears with a Swanson. 250 for a win. So Leon Slater and Javon Evans prevail for as victors of this match by defeating the Colon by pinfall. The match takes 10 minutes and 52 seconds. Vic joked when you add Levon and Jada. He joked when you add Leon and Java's age, it's 20 years younger than Booker. Okay. Booker's got to be around 40, just to let you know. I don't know his age. I'm not going to tell you his age. The show cuts to TNA and NXT roster yelling at each other in the parking lot. Oh, shit. We gonna start with that again? So this week's NXT is paced really well, focused on setting the table for next week's episode. Is the key to make sure to put the right segment on social media to draw in viewers to watch NXT. So it's gonna be for WWE Dynamite. During the break, on camera, followed by Ricky Saints and a bunch of NXT wrestlers, they headed to the ring. The TNA guys are also headed over. The TNA crossed the line theme played. Back from break, they were surrounded by NXT and TNA rosters. Ava was in the ring with Santino Marella. And the leaders of the team matches. Trick called off Ava and talked about being co-captain. Rick shuts Trick up. Dude, there's no co-captain in the team. Chill out with that. Ricky shuts up Trick and said that Trick is riding a shotgun of the captain. Ricky announced him, Trick, Javon, and Miles as the TNA. As the TNA, Santino announced himself, Frankie Kazarian, Moose. Santana announced himself, Frankie Kazarian, Moose, and Leah Satan as his team. Oh, that's going to be a distraction next episode, because Leon and Javon are starting talking to each other and becoming friends. I'm afraid they're going to take forever wrestling each other. Because they're too busy competing with each other about who's having the best match, rather than destroying each other. JC Jane pointed out when she was the Knockouts champion, she still rep NXT. Yeah, you got both NXT and TNA Knockouts champion, man. Jane called Kalani a two-time traitor. Really? She just saw an opportunity. What? I don't get this woman. A traitor, really? JC announced herself. So Ruger, Jada Parker, Lola Vice for her team. Kalani introduced herself. Jessie McKay as Billie Kay in WWE. Casey Lay as Peyton Roche from WWE. And Mara Sade, Jakara Jackson from WWE as her teammates. So that's women's team I just named. Santana then hyped up how he's going to bring the TNA title back home at Bound for Glory. Bra and Santana then hyped how he's bringing the TNA title back home at Bound for Glory. A brawl ensued that Shawn Michaels walked into a ramp and watched the brawl. The executive producer, Graphic Eric, closed the show. So that was an awesome show at the end, where they be fighting and brawling with each other and all that there stuff. That's it for this review. I'll be back soon for another one. Love you all and have a blessed night. Good evening, folks. Welcome to, my name is Jacqueline Cousins Oliva, and we're back for another episode of Wrestling Reviews. And today I'm going to read AEW Dynamite, which is this show is 6th anniversary because it's been on air for 6 years, and it's by Pro Wrestling. I'm reading this Pro Wrestling article from Jason Powell. I watched the show already, but I'm gonna read the show so I can comprehend. So the first hour, we're on the first hour, hour 1. Excalibur opened the show. It was joined by commentary Bryan Danielson, the legendary wrestler, who's the former AEW champion, in my own words, and Taz, the legendary wrestler from ECW and TNA and WWE. Footage there early in the day, the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, cutting a promo outside a host venue. Nick said they were in front of a casino. Matt said he had to make a phone call after Matt left. Nick held up a duffel bag full of cash they won and told Brandon they would double the money. Matt caught up with Nick, and who had lost all the money. I think they talking about Brandon Cutler, they longtime buddy. The Young Bucks stood in the ring. Graphic lists them as the Broke Bucks, cause they broke as hell, and Matt let his little brother Nick spend all the money on them damn machines in a casino. So they called them the Broke Bucks and listed their account as $0. Ring announcer Justin handled the introduction. Josh Alexander made his entrance. AEW Tag Team Champions Bandito and Brody King made their entrance, and then Kenny Omega followed. So Kenny Omega, Brody King, and Bandito take on the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander. A trios match. Don Callis sets in the commentary. Omega set up for a drive from the ring into the Alexander on the floor, but the Bucks cut him off with a double super kick. Alex got the better of Omega, heading to the first picture-in-picture break. Commercial break. So back from commercial break, open at Omega executed a flip dive onto all 3 opponents. When he stood up, he looked at Callis, who stood up and ran away from the broadcast table. The babyface still hit stimulus pile drivers. A short time later, Omega hit Alexander with a poison Randa. Omega followed up with a powerbomb and a V trigger. Omega hit Alexander with another V trigger. But Bandito performed 20 plex on Alexander. Omega finished off Alexander. So Kenny Omega, Brody King, and Bandito prevails against the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander in a trios match. That was a trios match. After the match, the Omega and the Young Bucks met in the ring while the broadcast team spoke about their roles in starting a commentary. It looked like Omega and the Bucks was being collateral, but Alexander hit Omega from behind. The Bucks watched while Alexander work over Omega with punches. Jurassic Express, Jack Perry, Luchasaurus made an entrance. Jack Perry hit a double TDT. Hold on. Hit a double DDT on the Bucks. Then the Luchasaurus gave them a double chokeslam. Alexander went after Perry, who fought him off, and then Omega hit a Snapdragon suplex. Omega approached Perry and shoved him. They bickered and pushed and shoved one another. Perry shoved Omega aside, then hit the Bucks with a suicide dive. Perry got the better of the Bucks. They fought the back, and Luchasaurus followed. Omega stood in the ring with a mic. So this is one of my favorite parts. He makes an announcement about the show and the years it went through. Callis, who was back on the commentary, said they would go to a break because nobody wants to hear what Omega had to say. So let me get this straight. Nobody wants to hear Omega talk about the history of AEW, right? Omega gives a speech and expressed the gratitude of the fans. He mentioned the highs and lows of the journey. The lights were turned off after Omega was delivered a clothesline. A masked man in the ring. Omega wants the lights turned on Andrade, unmasked, and then attacked Omega while a holy shit chant broke out. Okay, that didn't. I know that shit didn't last long because Andrade into some legal shit. Callis entered the ring and apprehensively approached Andrade, who shook his hand. Callis raised Andrade's hand and then eventually left together. The video was packaged air with highlights from the 6 years of Dynamite. So basically they were showing the history of AEW Dynamite from beginning to an end. If you look at the show, you saw when Cody Rhodes first showed up and he made history winning a TNT champion, and the Young Bucks tag team champions. They were tag team champions. I don't know how many times they won tag team champions. And Adam Page, AEW champion. Jon Moxley, AEW champion. And Chris Jericho, and all of them. I wanna say something about Andrade. Andrade's career is not gonna last. He just got a divorce from Charlotte Flair, according to social media. So he got a divorce from Charlotte Flair. Then he left. First of all, he left AEW to go back to the WWE to support Charlotte Flair. Then it didn't work out. He got a divorce, and he's into some legal trouble. I don't know what kind of illegal trouble he's in, but it's not good. Mark Briscoe delivered a promo from backstage hallway. He said the 6th anniversary was time for celebration and self-reflect. He's been consumed with MJF the last 6 months, showed him all out that his words have consequence. Briscoe called out being told that MJF that he can't win the big one. Briscoe and MJF cost him his TNT. Briscoe said MJF cost him his TNT title match against Kyle Fletcher. Briscoe said he was happy that Orange Cassidy is getting the TNT title shot. So Cassidy was back after an injury from Death Riders. So he's getting a TNT title shot later in the show. Briscoe said he would be by Cassidy's side, celebrating after he beat Fletcher. Briscoe said MJF would be sitting on the couch licking his wounds and picking the rest of the tracks out of his ass. That sounds like a disgusting threat. Interest for the TNT Championship match took place. So it's Kyle Fletcher with Don Callis versus Orange Cassidy for the TNT Championship. Callis actually stood at ringside while they would join the broadcast team. A couple of minutes into the match, Cassidy started putting his hands in his pocket. He always do this. He always do this, y'all. This is what he always do when he's in the ring. But Fletcher booted him in the face. Moments later, Cassidy hit a suicide dive. Cassidy tossed Fletcher back inside the ring and went up, but Fletcher caught him off the kick before PIP break. Cassidy put Fletcher down with a DDT and went up top and went down the crossbody and blocked. But Fletcher caught him to hit Mickey Knuckle Driver for the real fall. Cassidy came back with a stun dog millionaire. Cassidy tried to move again, but Fletcher stuffed it. Excalibur noticed that they were halfway through 20 minutes time limit. A short time later, Fletcher hit a leaping tombstone Powell driver for a near fall. Fletcher hit a kick in the corner and set up the brainbuster finisher. But Cassidy countered into the inside the cradle and got a 2 count. Cassidy went to the top ropes and was cut off again. So Fletcher went for a suplex from the middle rope, but Cassidy fought out for it and used a headbutt to knock Cassidy out off the ropes. Cassidy climbed the apron while the referee was focused on Fletcher for a reason. Since to the referee, someone dressed as Hologram came out and ran off Callis, but then turned and crouched Cassidy on the top buckle. Now I recognize that part. Fletcher hit a turnbuckle buster and get the 3 count, and that's how he beat Orange Cassidy. So yeah, I noticed that Hologram was known as the clone. Was the clone. So after the match, Fletcher and the Hologram imposter. Hologram was a fake. Put a boot to Cassidy, until Mark Briscoe, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly ran out. The heels went to the stage and Callis head to the back, then returned with Kazushiki Okada and Kanuzuki Takeshita, Andrade, Josh Alexander, Lance Archer, Rocky Romero, and Hechihiro. A fake hologram. Yeah, I remember that. A fake hologram had another mask underneath. The broadcast team assumed it was the clone that has been teased. So basically this was a shocking matter. That a hologram brought out the clone in the show. So he's now with Don Callis. I remember this. I remember this now. So it's hour 2. Renee Paquette interview. Hour 2. Highlights aired. Andrade attacking Kenny Omega. And then it's Renee Paquette interviewing TBS champion Mercedes Moné on a backstage interview set. So Renee noted that Moné was 16 days from being the longest reigning TBS champion. Of course, since she beat Little Nightingale for that belt. She's going to be in 16 days, she's going to be the longest reigning champion of all time. Mona says she would put the TBS champion on the line during next week. Title Tuesday edition. Mona wants to face someone for Florida. Paquette brought up AEW tag team titles. Mona says she want to know who our tag team partner going to be. She hardly comes out with a picture of her with her puppet, with her Monet puppet. Mercedes wasn't happy, rejected Carmen's request to team with her. Why she don't want to team with Harley? Hold on a second. I had to brush my hair. I had to make my hair look nice. So Monet rejected her team to team with her. John Moxley made his entrance from the venue lobby and met Daniel Garcia. Claudio in the hallway led to the arena position. They all head into the ring for the next trios match. The babyface trio made their entrance. So it's WWE World Champion Power Hobbs and Samoa Joe versus John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Daniel Garcia, the Death Riders, in a trios match. Moxley went to a suicide dive, but Hobbs was then shoved into the apron. Hobbs picked up Moxley and slammed him into the ring apron a few times, then tossed him in the floor, going to a PIP break, which is a commercial break. Later in the match, they did a sequence when the team took a hitting big moves. Castagnoli went to a neutralizer, but Page countered into a jackknife pin for a 2 count, and Castagnoli bridged it from the break. You all know what bridge means, right? You slide or you push somebody off you to break the pin. That's probably what that is. But Paige hit him in a dead eye. Paige followed up with a buckshot Lyra and scored a pin. So the winner, so Paige and the Ops beat the Death Riders. After the match, Paige handed Hobbs his AEW Trios Championship belt and brought Joe's belt to him, but the belt fell to the match. So I think Paige literally dropped the belt on purpose. Paige got his own title belt and held it up. Joe wasn't pleased and looked like he was snubbed by Paige. So Joe was basically ignoring Paige. Hobbs tried to keep Joe calm. Joe swung Paige around and was censored as he barked at him. Hobbs tried to play peacemaker. Jerry Lynn and a group of security guards entered the ring to keep Paige and Joe apart. So they was gonna fight each other. That's what it looked like. They was gonna fight each other. They failed. Joe said Paige had never beaten him, and then stuck a Paige. Hobbs got Joe to leave the ring. Joe dropped F-bombs as he went back. So he was basically cursing at him. I noticed there's some tension going on between them. I will cover what's going on Title Tuesday, because I see that they had like a encounter with each other. Joe and Adam. I'm gonna see what's going on with them. I want to talk about what's going on with them later on. A video package with Neil Nightingale and Jeff Speed, Kevin Knight, and Mike Bailey. Knight said he was inspired by Willow Knight and wanted to face a member of the FTR in a singles match. The video scripted by Stokely Hathaway, Dex Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. Okay. The Hathaway say they had a surprise for Willow in due time. Hathaway say Knight would never had a match against Harwood and the Wheeler, but he would know which one until the wrestler walks through the curtain on a Saturday's AEW Collision. Backstage, Renee Paquette spoke with Hangman Adam Page, who said he didn't think he would be this confused. So, Page recalled being told that he never beat Joe. I never seen Page and Joe fight each other, so we'll see how that goes. Page and Joe won a title shot, but he could prepare him for weeks and face him at Wrestle Dream. Paige said she respects Joe, but he'd ruin him if he ever do another fit like that. Whew. Like I said, I saw the encounter next week at Title Tuesday, and I'm gonna cover that. So, Timeless Toni Storm made her entrance. And then Tame Metal came out and with Anna Jay, who did not accompany her in the ring. A pre-tape promo out that Metal was taken briefly about facing Tony for the first time. So Toni Storm takes on Tame Metal. The fans sang Storm's name in European style. Metal caught Storm in a cross-arm breaker. I gotta see that match again. I keep forgetting about this match. And had to release it. Metal went for the kick for the apron, but Storm caught her leg and tripped her before the commercial break. Late in the match, Storm stuffed a takeout KO attempt. Storm executed German suplex. Storm followed up with a hip attack, then hit a Storm Zero with a 3 count. So Tony like that, Tony picked up a win over Tay Mello. After the match, Tony spoke about how she heard nothing when she lost the title. Tony asked who she was without a title. So she was lost. So she claimed she was lost without the title. Storm told Chris Statlander that she's not finished with her. Tony told Statlander to name the time and a place. Storm dropped the mic and hung her head. This is epic. This is so epic. Eddie Kingston versus Dralistico was announced for the Saturday collision, which starts earlier than usual at 6 Central to 7 Eastern Time. The video package was aired Sammy Guevara talking about LFI being on fire. I still like Sammy Guevara, just to let you know. I like the family origin of Sammy Guevara and Tay Mello with their daughter. So a video package aired with Sammy Guevara talking with LFI. What does that stand for? Being on fire. Talking about Kingston. Guerrero says he and Kingston have a lot of history together, and they cut to Kingston, who is with Hook. Kingston told Dralistico to not let Guevara speak for him. Guevara. I forgot to pronounce his name. Speak for him because he would be kicking Dralistico's ass, not Guevara's. Excalibur hyped JOA versus the Swirl after the break. And so, after the commercial break, Renee spoke with Samoa Joe and with Power Hobbs and asked for his response to Adam Page, Hangman Adam Page offer. Joe questioned whether he and Page were friends. Joe said maybe he's beaten him, but never explained. Joe said maybe he's been too consumed with the Death Riders that he forgotten who he is. Joe said Page never beaten him and never experienced anyone greater than him. Joe said, damn right, to the challenge. He said he would welcome Page to the world of deep shit. funny, hey. So the graphic legends, so it's going to be Page versus Joe for the AEW World Champion at Wrestle Dream on October 18th. The Gates of Agony, Toa Liona versus Bishop Khan made their entrance with Ricochet while the opponents were deadly in the ring. The Gates of Anatomy and Ricochet versus the Swirl, Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. I'm gonna make this short. The Gates of Agony with Ricochet beats Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. I don't care too much about this match. That match was boring as hell. After the match, the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP walked into the stage. MVP played in the locals by calling in some area codes. MVP says maybe he's not quite the wrestler he used to be. MVP said the one thing he could do better than Ricochet or Gates of Agony is fight. He said he didn't want to wrestle. He wanted no DQ street fight. So that was the match that I saw. That was a pretty cool match. Ricochet had to hold back Khan. MVP said Khan better settle down before he called out Bandito to toss his ass around again. MVP issued a challenge to the street fight. For next week's show, they then tossed the mic to Ricochet, who accepted the challenge. AEW Women's Champion Trish Statlander spoke with Renee in the interview set. Statlander said she and Toni Storm have never wrestled one-on-one. Statlander says she's a fighting champion and a supreme being cosmic killer. Trish Statlander for the match to happen at Wrestle Dream. Holly Cameron entered the scene with her Mercedes Monet puppet. Cameron was fired up when Statlander pointed out the puppet, saying, "What's that?" Cameron put it behind her and told Statlander to have a great match. I need to get some water. So Excalibur mentioned, so he hyped up this mixed tag match in the main event. The Statlander versus Toni Storm. Trish Statlander versus Toni Storm is in Wrestle Dream. Backstage, Alicia Tout interviewed Don Callis, Kazuchika Okada. Okay, Okada and Tetsuya. I'm gonna address these men by their last names because it's hard for me to pronounce their names. So he addressed the two men on the interview set. Callis boasted about adding El Khan and Andrade to his family. Sir, Andrade has some serious legal problems. I don't think that's a good idea. Callis said they took out Kenny Omega, but he wasn't happy. Why is Kenny Omega still standing? Why is he still standing? But he wasn't happy that Brodito escaped. Callis challenged Brodito to face Okada and Takeshita. That's much better, because their first names I have a hard time pronouncing. It's gonna be on a Tuesday show at Tuesday title show. Takeshita stopped Callis and questioned the idea of teaming with Okada, because you know Okada and Takeshita don't get along. I see how they be acting around each other. Callis and Okada confirmed that was the plan. So it's after the commercial break. Interest from the main event took place with Darby Allin and Trish Statlander coming out. Maria Shafir and Wheeler Yuta started to make their entrance when they were confronted by baby faces, and the team would brawl before the events arriving at ringside. AEW Women's Champion Trish Statlander and Darby Allin versus Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta. That match was so brutal. I can't even read the details of it. So they finished the match. That match was brutal as hell. Statlander did finish him off with a 450 splash on Yuta and Shafir. Allin hit Yuta with a coffin drop, and then Allin pinned him, and that's how they beat the Death Riders. After the match, Tony came out, ended up going face to face with Trish Statlander on an entrance ramp. Both women Both women smiled and then trade punches, which means they were straight up punching each other until security pulled them out. Allen ripped Uter with his sudden belt. Pac entered the ring and attacked Allen behind Jon Moxley. Daniel Garcia, Claudio Castagnoli entered the ring while Pac choked Allen with a belt. Moxley told Allen that he has zero chance of doing what he had to do to win at WrestleMania. Moxley said he did not know how he would do it, but he would make Darby said the world shall quit. Yeah, good luck with that. For the first time in his life, Pac stood up Allen and turned him inside out with a clothesline. Excalibur listed previous advertisement match for Collusion and said Mercedes Moné would hold up an open challenge for Tuesday Dynamite. Like I said, this match was brutal. But then after that, Darby had a rough patch with Pac. Overall, this was a solid, heavy episode. The video package was nice. And a few wrestlers played up the anniversary doing their promos. But it mostly felt like business as usual. Slow with an extra 30 minutes, and it will be back shortly with my weekly same night audio review, Dynamite 6, which will be available. Okay, I'm not gonna read all that. So that's it for today. I'll be back with another review. I'm gonna do WWE involved and see how that goes. Love you all and good night.